Hello, my name is Kristen Boggs. I'm with the Albert Schweitzer Fellowship of Alabama. And if you're watching this, then it probably means that one of our current fellows has approached you about possibly being a site partner for them and their service project for this upcoming year. So first, I just want to say thank you for having a conversation with that student. My goal for today is really just to share more about ASF and the important role that our site partners play, and to kind of stimulate ideas and ways that our students might be able to come alongside your organization's work in the coming year. Um, you see our mission statement here, but I like to say that a better way to state our mission is that, we're seeking to help students identify and address health inequities, but we define health really broadly. So we're thinking about the World Health Organization's definition of a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Our students also address social determinants of health. And so, as you can see, they end up doing a wide variety of things. So as I go through this presentation, you could be asking yourself, could a fellow help us pilot a new or expand an existing program to meet an unmet need? And as you ask that question, please consider a wide range of projects. So I'll quickly go through kind of the three aspects of our program. Before I do, I'll just say that our organization nationally was founded all the way back in 1940 to support the work of the Schweitzer Hospital in Lambaréné, Gabon, West Africa. However, Dr. Schweitzer always encouraged people to find their own Lambaréné. And so since 1992, ASF took that to heart and started domestic programs. Those domestic programs involve a diverse group of graduate students in a mentored service experience, which is designed to increase their skills and commitment to addressing health needs of underserved populations. So our model seeks to bridge this academic and community partners. So we sort of live in the middle of those two groups. We started here in Alabama with fellows in 2016, therefore have had about 8 cohorts, starting our 9th cohort right now, and have worked with a lot of different academic partner schools and disciplines within those schools. So and I should also say, we're really proud of the fact that we've worked with 77 different partner organizations to date, and that won't count the ones that we'll be adding with you all this year. So you see here some of the schools, and this year we're excited we'll be adding an academic partner in Montgomery with Alabama State University. And again, we'll be adding community site partners as well. We'll have fellows for the 2024 to 2025 year, all the way from Huntsville in the north to Mobile in the south, although a majority of our fellows do happen to be kind of in central Alabama in the Birmingham area. So a couple of things to know about the service project that the students are, wanting to do with your organization. Everyone has to commit to doing 200 hours of service, which is primarily direct community service, but that can be spent building capacity for an organization. So we use an outcomes framework to ensure that we're always working towards tangible outcomes that are valued by our site host as well. And the student has both a site and an academic mentor to provide guidance. And so we, as ASF staff, provide kind of additional support to the student. We help them research a need, find evidence-informed strategies, plan milestones and activities, and ultimately help them problem solve and iterate to make sure that they're achieving the most they can through that year-long project. So again, we've had projects that have worked with organizations, everything from, maybe expanding access to care to working to empower youth. We do a lot of projects related to supporting mental well-being and food and nutrition as well. But again, options are very endless. The other thing that ASF does is that we provide educational workshops to our students, as well as kind of ongoing coaching sessions. And so we're exposing them to a wide range of speakers and topics so that they can learn while they're concurrently doing these projects in the community. So our goal is ultimately to create positive change in the communities, and we believe that's contingent on having partners who see mutual benefit in what the students are doing. And we also recognize that student volunteers can provide both rewards and challenges for nonprofits. And so I want to tell you a little bit about what we provide, and then the next slide will explain kind of what we ask of our community site partners, because we want you to feel confident in making a decision about whether or not to partner with the student. So our experience shows that for projects to be successful, our student volunteers need to have plenty of supports and accountability, but also a flexible mindset with a willingness to problem solve and a clear goal that both the student and site partner are excited to work towards. So we do all these things you see listed here. We help them identify those mentors. We provide structure for monthly reports that they write and reflections to make sure that we're encouraging ongoing communication between the student, their site, their academic partner, and us. They also help us kind of flag when a student might need help problem solving so we can step in. And again, I've mentioned earlier that, part of that initial relationship building phase is also about making sure we understand the data that illustrates what the needs are before a student commits to a project idea. So if you are familiar with a logic model, we teach our students about those, and we're really focused on helping them understand that it's not just about those outputs that they're going to be producing, but really about that change in behavior, those short and medium term outcomes that we want them to be working towards. So we help them define maybe a change in health behavior or a condition, or how an organization could grow and improve their work by the end of this 1 year fellowship experience. So what would we need from you? Well, site mentors in particular better know the clients being served, the social and cultural factors that influence their behaviors. You can also help us identify barriers or risk. So overall, you really bring a degree of realism to the goals to make sure that students don't over or underestimate what impact they could be striving for, what interventions have been tried by your agency before, etc. Likewise, when problems arise, particularly those that are logistical, like thinking about, what time of day and what days to offer a workshop, or how to document their interactions with clients within the organization's record-keeping system, you as site mentors are the people that fellows need to consult with for help with that kind of problem solving. And you also provide a wonderful network of contacts for their own professional development, serving as examples of how they can craft their future careers in service. And so we really appreciate that aspect as well. So we do host a mentor orientation in April, and we'll go over some of these details more. The students will also have this in a document that they can share with you. So I won't go through each of these items individually right now, but basically that mentor agreement should say many of the things that I just described, how you help the fellow orient to the organization and shape their project. So timing wise, we are currently in this partnership development phase. We wrapped up our recruitment and selection. So the students reaching out to you today, you can be confident, have been selected as fellows. They've completed a background check, and now they are looking for opportunities to shadow, to maybe volunteer with your existing programming, really just to get to know what your organization already does, the clients that you serve, the staff, in order to, meanwhile, also be forming this project idea of their own. Then they'll start working towards some of these other tasks that you see over the coming months of March, April, May, so that by the end of June, we want them to have a document. We call it a project plan, but it's basically a way for us to all be in agreement on what it is that the student's project goal is and how they're going to work towards it over the course of the year. And then that positions them to start maybe as soon as July, and certainly working through next March 2025 to do those hours of service. So when we think about what it takes to execute a project, we kind of divide it out between direct service, hours in indirect service or those planning tasks. And so we want them to make sure that they are doing a project that is not just simply about planning, but that it's really executing. And so we emphasize that of the 200 overall hours, at least 100 need to be in direct service. So if you're speaking with a student who's doing a project as an individual, you can be assured of getting 100 hours of direct service out of their project. If you're working with students who are partners, each student would dedicate 100 hours, so it could be up to 200 hours of direct service. And then again, they're going to be using additional time either to invest it back into the direct service or to do all of those planning tasks that we know are going to be necessary. A couple of things I'll point out here before I move on to the next slide, and that is that, we really think of kind of continuous quality improvement. And so they'll be evaluating and making sure that they do anything necessary to make slight changes to make it most effective. And then ultimately, if the project is successful, we would want them to have conversations with you as the site about whether or not the site would want to sustain this and as, part of your programming. And if so, what would that require of them? And so they can be using time towards the end of the fellowship to maybe build materials that might help in that transition and handoff. Obviously, if the project wasn't successful, we consider it as just an opportunity for you to know that someone else helped you pilot something, proved maybe a methodology that didn't work, and then you can use your staff resources to kind of move on to other approaches. So ultimately, the student will work towards presenting out on what they learned and what they accomplished by next April 2025. I think the best way to get a sense of the scope of our projects and what students can do is looking on our website. Under our fellows page, you can read descriptions of every single fellow and project. So I encourage you to go there. But again, just to reiterate some of those tangible outputs that your organization could stand to receive, 200 to 400 hours of that planning and implementation from 1 or 2 fellows. We provide them with a stipend, which helps keep them on track and motivated. We give them a small amount of project funds they can use just for some of those, materials that they may inevitably need to execute their project. We've done the background check and we'll have liability insurance for them. And then what I think is most important is we're really giving them that staff oversight, that time that we know is going to be really important. We still need you to also give them some time and oversight, but hopefully we can, reduce that burden on the organization by providing a lot of that in our coaching sessions and our training sessions. And then some of the kind of like materials that they can hand off to the site, they would develop a logic model, have a theory of change, have a, reference list for literature that they reviewed. They essentially are going to give you outcomes data for this pilot. And then again, those sustainability materials, which could look like, a handbook or training guide or videos or various, ways to assist in that handoff. So if you are willing to, again, engage in a conversation with students, you could be asking yourselves these questions, like if a fellow addressed fill in the blank, whatever that topic was, with your clients, what would be different in their lives? What changes would you want to see? Or conversely, if it's more about building capacity within your organization, how could the fellow help you reach more clients, offer a new service, or provide current services more effectively or efficiently? So hopefully you're having that Q&A with the fellows now, and that's why you're watching this video. If you are willing to be a site partner, we would love for you to make recommendations of how they can shadow and volunteer over the coming weeks. They'll need to turn in and let us know by mid-March who their site and academic, who their site partner is, who their site mentor is. And then if you find that, no, this isn't going to be a good fit with your organization, we would just ask maybe you consider referring them to another organization that you think could be better aligned. If you have any questions, please reach out. Our Action Learning Coach is Keaton Johnson, and he's available at mentor@asfalabama.org. We also encourage you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can learn more about us on our website as well. And again, thank you so much.